So, Mishra ji, aap padhenge or you want me to read it?
पढ़िए
I'm also this. I'm also
हाँ प्रिया
this.
मैडम पढ़िए ना।
Oh,
प्रिया
okay,
मैडम, आप
then
पढ़िए।
Priya ma'am, if you are there, then you are the first. You have the first right to refuse it.
मैं हूँ ना सर. I joined first. हाँ. Shall we start
Yeah,
from section 7, sir?
correct. What we can do is we can start with one para so that there is a little bit
Okay.
of refreshing.
Okay.
Government of the world is.
Yes, sir. The government of the world is in the administration of justice as destiny, and the relations of the peoples, races, and nations are determined by them respectively. The government at once has knowledge of all particulars from the knowers, and the determination by the thinkers of the individual doers concerning the human beings, among whatever races or nations they are placed. And each individual and each group and each state or nation has its destiny administered in time, condition, and place in justice to each and in relation to the whole. And so the performance goes on.
Yeah. Okay.
Section 7. Possible chaos in the world. Intelligences govern the order of events. Human thoughts, the very large majority of human thoughts, are opposed to universal law and order. Man's desires are mostly lawless, frivolous, or vicious, and he gives rein to them when he thinks he can. Most people would, if they could, restrain others and be unrestrained themselves. Where the acts of every person are limited by ignorance and inertia, and often stimulated by self-interest, and most people desire laws for protection on the one hand, and on the other are not unwilling to break them if they can do so without too much danger to themselves.
Yeah. So I think we will repeat it once again.
Yes, sir. Human thoughts, the very large majority of human thoughts, are opposed to universal law and order. Man's desires are mostly lawless, frivolous, or vicious, and he gives rein to them when he thinks he can. Most people would, if they could, restrain others and be unrestrained themselves. Where the acts of every person are limited by ignorance and inertia, and often stimulated by self-interest, and most people desire laws for protection on one hand, and on the other are not unwilling to break them if they can do so without too much danger to themselves.
So basically
There's a
what
comma
he's
there.
saying is that this becomes the ground for chaos because of either vested interest or it could be because man doesn't like to be told what to do. That is the basic reason why his behavior goes that way. Yeah.
There would soon be chaos in this world and a breaking up of all institutions if men were left to themselves. Intelligences and complete triune selves govern affairs according to the law of thought. Elemental beings under their direction do the mechanical part and are the material with which they work. Every thinking man sees that intelligence of some kind must be behind or within the working of the visible universe. Every thinking man sees that intelligence of some kind must be behind or within the working of the visible universe. Some assume that there is a single intelligence whom they call God. The difference between that idea and this system is that gods of religions are described as personal and as arbitrary in the creation and government of the world, whereas the real God of every human is directly related to the conscious doer within him. The light of his intelligence is the light through which alone he can see the light of the supreme intelligence. The visible world outside is built and destroyed.
See into the light.
Sorry,
You
okay.
can see
Which
into
alone he
the
can
light.
see into the light of the supreme intelligence. I'll read that again. The light of his intelligence is the light through which alone he can see into the light of the supreme intelligence. The visible world outside is built and destroyed by upper elementals, which obey the orders of intelligences and complete triune selves under the supreme intelligence and see to it that the law of thought is carried out. The visible world outside is built and destroyed by upper elementals, which obey the orders of intelligences and complete triune selves under the supreme intelligence and see to it that the law of thought is carried out.
Yeah, because that is what is their responsibility.
Upper elementals क्या है sir?
Elementals matlab basically whatever are those, by virtue of those senses, whatever we get.
नहीं, upper elementals क्या है? Upper elementals destroyed by upper elementals which obey the order of the intelligence. That means heart, mind. What is this upper elementals?
They are elementals are the ones that are outside.
Correct. So what is upper elemental then?
Upper elementals are from the mental world, the physical world. Hai na ye? So the upper ones are the psychic, the mental, and the neotic. Well, there also they are elementals only, right? Nature matter. They are the basic matter which has got more intelligence than, more consciousness than the ones which are within, which is the lower, which is the physical.
ठीक है sir.
समझ गए ना? See, fundamentally, what are elementals? Elementals are those nature matter consisting of air, water, and all those separate particles. Those are the ones that are known as the elemental beings. So, ma'am, यहाँ से एक बार और पढ़ लीजिए intelligences and
Yes, sir.
complete triune selves.
Yes, sir.
So that
Intelligences and complete triune selves govern affairs according to the law of thought. Elemental beings under the direction do the mechanical part and are the material with which they work. Every thinking man sees that intelligence of some kind must be behind or within the working of the visible universe. Some assume that there is a single intelligence whom they call God. The difference between that idea and this system is that the gods of religions are described as personal and as arbitrary in the creation and government of the world, whereas the real God of every human is directly related to the conscious doer within him. The light of his intelligence is the light through which alone he can see into the light of the supreme intelligence. The visible world outside is built and destroyed by upper elementals, which obey the order of intelligences and complete triune selves under the supreme intelligence and see to it that the law of thought is carried out.
Sir, is that clear or do you want me to repeat what I said?
नहीं ठीक है समझ गया sir.
So all these that are pertaining to the other components of the planes and worlds, because you've got the psychic world, the physical world where we are living, then slightly more intelligent and subtler than us is in the psychic world, then the mental world, and then the neotic world, where thinker, knower, and all are more predominant. There is more
Yes,
light
yes.
there, more intelligence there. Yeah,
Yes sir. Yes sir.
right. The
The
triune
triune
selves.
selves and intelligences are the managers of the continuing play. They arrange the scene, call the players, and let them act. The triune selves and the intelligences are the managers of the continuing play. They arrange the scene, call the players, and let them act. Every human is an actor in some spot of the world stage. At a certain time and place, which the triune selves or the intelligences determine, they let him play the part he has prepared himself to play. He is not aware of this preparation made by his thinking. He has forgotten the design and the way in which he designed, but he finds himself on the stage and is buffeted, coddled, led, or lured by others who are in the same or a similar position as he is. His actions may affect himself alone, or a few, or hosts. I didn't get this. His actions may affect himself alone or a few or hosts.
Ah,
No, what does that host mean? I didn't get
no,
the
no, no,
sentence.
few of hosts. No, sorry. It may affect him. That means it could have a far-reaching effect on himself alone, or
Hmm.
a few people who are involved, or even the hosts who have brought them together.
Okay. That host only I didn't understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So his actions may affect himself alone or a few or hosts. The triune selves and intelligences cannot change the destiny of an individual or of a group. All they can do is to retard or accelerate the exteriorizations that would produce chaos and destruction of the human race in less than 50 years, if not timed intelligently. और से फिर से पढ़ना है वो sentence.
ये
The
पैरा ही पढ़ो.
triunes,
नहीं, ये पैरा
हाँ.
ही फिर से पढ़ो एक और बार.
ठीक है sir. The triune selves and intelligences are the managers of the continuing play.
Yes.
They arrange the scene, call the players, and let them act. Every human is an actor in some spot of the world stage. At a certain time and place, when the triune selves or the intelligences determine, they let him play the part he has prepared himself to play. He is not aware of this preparation made by his thinking. He has forgotten the design and the way in which he designed. But he finds himself on the stage and is buffeted, coddled, led, or lured by others who are in the same or a similar position as he is.
So till here, see, preparations
This is
made by his thinking means this is the soul
life
plan
plan. Soul plan.
before he is
For that
born.
life. For that
Right?
life.
At this stage, he has forgotten the design and the way in which he designed. That is when the birth has taken place. Because of the traumatic situation at the time of birth, he ends up forgetting most of it. Okay. But he will find himself on the stage and he is being guided mostly by his upbringing, the environment, or the one or influenced by others. And because of that, his actions will influence him or it will impact him or
so this
have a
host,
collective impact in which it could be all those involved and also the hosts who are the triggers.
so that may be the family and the people around him who are.
Yes. The triune selves and intelligence cannot change the destiny of an individual or that of a group. All they can do is administer. Right? Which means they can decide in terms of making the exteriorization happen, which has got again 3 or 4 conditions. Right? That exteriorizations would produce a chaos and destruction of the human race in less than 50 years, if not timed intelligently. Are you with me? That means if the triune self and the intelligence are not involved in guiding them, right? By either accelerating and retarding and intelligently making the timing it, then all that will happen is chaos and destruction of the human years within 50 years. Because they are being timed and then adjusted accordingly, right? There is no chaos or destruction within 50 years. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anywhere else in the book, has he tried to logically support this concept of 50 years? Because this concept of years is an earthly thing. Okay, it's based on our calendar.
No, he has not, sir.
But from the spiritual, but there is no concept of this 50 years.
No, that
So
50 years beyond the physical world, I don't think exists.
That's it. So what does he actually mean by the 50 years? Why does he put that 50 years as a marker? Is it just a speculation?
Just a
Or he's got a
speculation
reason
is
for
my
logic for
read.
that? That's it. I
Because
agree.
otherwise it will just
So
be
his
chaos
speculation.
and destruction of the human race.
Fine.
And
Yeah, that's it. I agree with you. It is his speculation. That's all.
yeah, because if they don't do that retardation and acceleration, that means basically my read is that he is saying that people have a free will. That free will is under the influence of the triune self and intelligences where they are retarding and accelerating.
Correct.
That is the way I read it.
Yeah, I agree. That's it. As long as they accept the fact
Correct.
that about the 50-year business, because
Hmm. Yeah, continue.
Yeah.
I'll read from the previous line. The triune selves and intelligences cannot change the destiny of an individual or a group. All they can do is to retard or accelerate the exteriorizations that would produce chaos and destruction to the human race in less than 50 years, if not timed intelligently. They do not interfere with any cycle in its working, but at critical times they guide the course of a cycle so as to allow or prevent an intersection with another cycle or cycles.
Yeah. So that is the only change that they are allowed to do. They ensure that it will prevent an intersection, a clash between two cycles.
So the cycle, meaning what exactly are they meaning?
The cycle is once a thought is issued, there is a cycle, right? Till exteriorization.
So like between two different thoughts,
Yeah,
cycles.
correct.
Men think and act for their own selfish ends. They have little control over the result of their action beyond their immediate object. Only the triune selves and intelligences know what men's thoughts call for, and the destiny of the greater and smaller groups to which people belong. They manage the order of events by selecting time and place for them, so that the human race will be preserved and continued opportunity will be given to the doers and human beings. They manage the order of events.
This
by
is what
selecting
they
the
do
time
when
and
they
place
see
for them.
that they are intelligently managing or timing them. This is precisely what they do.
So they manage the order of events by selecting time and place for them so that the human race will be preserved and continued opportunity will be given to the doers and human beings. Okay.
Correct.
But this opportunity can be continued only upon one condition. That is, that in the sum of human thought, the good shall outweigh the bad.
This is one of the conditions.
What is here spoken of as weight is not determined, what is here spoken of as weight is determined not by quantity, but by quality of thought. While it is true that the majority of men are uninformed and their thoughts are largely superficial, callous, or vicious, yet there are among humanity many who have fundamental and rugged virtues, whose thoughts have made them honest, self-respecting, and self-sacrificing, so that they receive more light from their intelligences. Usually, such men play no public part, for the public would not have them. फिर से पढ़ना है और I'll continue.
नहीं, ये clear है ना. Basically, while the tendency of a man, of the male, right, he will have thoughts, right, which are self-centered, but they do not think deep, which is that is why they are largely superficial, callous, and vicious. Yet the same thing, there are
many who are opposite.
many people who have got discipline and virtues, right?
Mm.
These, right? They have
So they get
more,
more light.
correct, more wisdom basically.
Mm.
Usually such men play no public part, for the public would not have them. Because public is interested in the emotion and flow.
Mm.
However, they turn the balance and so furnish a condition which permits the intelligences to regulate, because the intelligence cannot do anything directly.
Mm.
They need bodies,
Mm.
right? So those people who have already burnt themselves are the people with wisdom today. Those are the people who are supporting the intelligences, and the intelligences utilize such personnel because they are more in contact with the triune self. Please understand that.
Mm.
Right? Because they are not in the survival mode, they are above the survival mode. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Usually such men play no public part, for the public would not have them. However, they turn the balance and so furnish a condition which permits the intelligences to regulate the time and place of events in orderly succession. They go on as long as there are a few sincere and honest men and women, the power of whose virtuous thoughts is greater than that of the inert, selfish, corrupt, and vicious multitude. This condition of the human race is not surprising. Their thinking does not focus light of the intelligence. It is limited by the four senses. So they do not know what they are or where they are going. Scroll, sir.
Yeah.
If there comes a time when the power of the thoughts of the vicious so preponderates as to make any recovery hopeless, then an intelligence lets a fire god or a water god give to the race
Race.
what its thoughts have called for.
Right.
So it's like you'll get your tsunamis and stuff like that.
Ah, ah.
Then follows the destruction of the race by water or volcanic action. The crust of the earth shakes and opens, flames pour forth, and the earth crust sinks, while the waters sweep over the land and submerge it. New land rises out of the ocean and awaits the coming of a new race.
This
Pralaya.
actually explains, the various destructions that have taken place over the year, and right, even that Samudra Manthan or whatever you call that, right? All that also can be covered by this particular statement. Would you agree?
Samudra Manthan, or
Samudra
you're talking
Manthan is, that is where the
the
Devas,
churning of
Asuras,
the
and
yeah.
Suras.
Yeah, I got the churning of the ocean.
Yeah.
But how we are relating the two, I'm trying to figure out.
No. See, what has happened is there was the destruction of the universe in its phase had to happen because of too much of negative. That is when the intelligence will let either fire or water take over. Now, Samudra Manthan is destruction of life prior to that.
Okay, like that.
Yeah, that means end of a yuga.
So that is your pralaya happening.
Exactly. That is like the pralaya.
Yeah.
Or you can take it that is like deserts have become what you call yielding land, and the yielding lands have become deserts. Rivers have changed courses. All that is happening because of the desire of human beings. When things go out of control. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. New land rises out of the ocean and awaits the coming of a new race. This is what happens when the people of a country or of the world determine by their thoughts and acts that they will not live by law and order, that they will use force against law and justice, or that they will give rein to the senses and indulge in debauchery, lawlessness, drunkenness. That would be the beginning of the end of civilization.
Now,
But the people,
no, one sec.
yes, sir.
Let us try to read this sentence and the context being what is happening in Ukraine and Russia. Just for the sake of clarity, right? And we are also seeing that the oppressed, there are many good people, like that Indian guy who is running a restaurant. He is feeding most of the people who are victims of where the war has taken place. There was an article in one of the WhatsApp group about this Indian who has gone and settled there, who is in Ukraine towards near the border. He is actually feeding all the people, irrespective of which country they belong to. Right? And the war is actually driven by the vested interest of some of them, and the result is a destruction, correct? And there could be potential use of force against law and justice. That is what is happening there. Or that they will give rein to the senses and indulge in debauchery, lawlessness, drunkenness. There are so many others that could follow. That would become the beginning of the end of civilization. Now, civilization, we can read it restricted at this point in time to that area. But if others also join and then they start taking this one, then it will be like World War I or World War II and so on. This is a good example that we could probably consider just to understand what he's trying to say here. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's proceed. But,
So you have to share the screen, sir.
oh, I'm not sharing, is it? Sorry, very
No.
sorry. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But the people of the world are giving evidence of awakening to their responsibilities in life. They begin to understand that as individuals, they cannot live and enjoy separately or in separate communities, that their lives are related to the lives of others and of other peoples. Individuals of different countries are understanding that as they desire independence, so also do the peoples of other countries desire independence. And that if any one people were to deprive another people of their independence, they are in turn liable to lose their own independence. Individuals among different peoples are awakening to the fact that independence as individuals or as a people is dependent on their responsibility. That individuals of a people cannot have independence without responsibility. That the degree of their independence is limited to the degree of their responsibility. Independence and responsibility are inseparable. Independence with responsibility will open the way and bring with it more light, the conscious light, which will be the entrance into a new way of life. the way of life that can eventuate in the establishment of a permanent civilization of self-government on this earth.
That is the only way. That means everyone recognizes this fact that independence and responsibility go hand in hand. And that is what is the conscious light. That is the progression, in other words. Right? That completes chapter 5. Are you all with me? Shall we go on to chapter 6? Wow, in the recent past, this is one of the very lengthy chapters.
Chapter 7, sir.
No, 6. What we
We were in
completed
section
was
7,
chapter
sir.
5.
Chapter 5, section 7 we completed, sir. That was
Correct.
section 7.
That is the end.
So now we are going to chapter 6. That was section
Chapter
7
6
of
is,
chapter 5.
sir, we have completed the destiny as dictated by the physical world. Destiny as dictated by the physical world is over now. Now we are going to the next part, which is the psychic world.
Okay, Jagdish has gone out.
Pardon?
Jagdish sir is not there. He has messaged that he has to log out. Some other thing needs to be attended.
Yeah. No issue.
Yeah. Psychic destiny. Section 1. Form destiny. Strictly psychic destiny. 6 classes of psychic destiny. The AIA, the breath form. The law of thought does not decree events beyond the physical plane, that is, beyond physical destiny. What then is psychic destiny?
Okay. So
Psychic
what does this
destiny.
mean? Law of thought does not go beyond the physical destiny. Does not decree. What is he meaning by decree?
So,
One second.
screen sharing.
No,
Change
no.
again.
Decree is what?
No, you're saying meaning of decree. Decree is like
An official order
rule,
that has the
law.
force of
Decree is like a law.
Correct. Right. The law of thought then does not decree events beyond the physical plane. Right? That is what he's trying to tell us here. Okay, so let us understand that. Psychic, am I sharing?
Yes, sir. Shall I continue?
Yeah.
Decree means is it dispute?
No, it is the
Decree
law.
is like a law that
It is the events
that
by.
dictates what should be done or not done.
Correct.
Decree is like a law that says what should be done, not done.
It is a judgment
So
and jurisdiction of the law.
No, the law of thought does not
decree
decree.
events.
So it does not
means it does
apply
not
to events beyond the physical plane.
It does not control
Law of
those
thought
events.
applies
beyond
only
the
to physical plane.
Yes.
Law of thought applies only to physical plane.
Yes.
That is beyond physical
destiny.
Now, the events that are happening in the physical plane follow the law of thought.
Okay, that's understandable. And that is beyond physical destiny.
What does
The
he say?
events,
The physical destiny, whatever we read, events on the physical world.
Okay, so it is limited by these 2 factors.
Yes.
so
So
I
we'll
think
get more
basically
clarity after we complete all
So
the 4
physical-
laws.
Yeah, so physical plane money when you're in human form, I suppose. So
In
the law of
physical
thought
world.
does not.
And that is the one that is influencing the physical world, its manifested and unmanifested portion.
Huh. So it cannot control what is like beyond the physical plane, meaning beyond
The
afterlife.
realm of
kind of thing.
permanence also is part of the unmanifested physical world, correct?
Hmm.
Then let's
So
not
that is
forget that.
so after physical life, that law of thought cannot be applicable.
No, beyond the jurisdiction of, beyond the boundaries of the physical destiny, which is controlling the physical plane. Yes, it does not apply there. So how does the psychic destiny operate? We have to now look into that.
Okay, I'll read from the beginning. The
Yeah.
law of thought does not decree events beyond the physical plane, that is, beyond physical destiny. What then is psychic destiny? Psychic destiny is a name for two kinds of destiny. One kind, form destiny, affects nature matter on the form plane and has to do chiefly with prenatal influences. One kind, form destiny, affects nature matter on the form plane and has to do chiefly with prenatal influences.
Okay, just to
other-
see that we understand, Priya
Hmm.
ma'am, just
Yes, sir.
hold there,
Yes, sir.
right? Now, for the sake of better understanding, right?
Hmm.
Let us bring in the Panchakoshas into picture. Okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
And Akashic records. Now, if we take the order, right, of the elementals which forms the universe, you have got everything starts with space, he says, right, which is ether.
Hmm.
Okay? Then you have fire, then you have air, you have water, and you have earth. Correct? These are the five entities,
Hmm.
which is the nature, matter, and elementals.
So those are five elements, right? Are they elementals?
Elementals are
Yeah.
beings which are the composition of these entities.
Right. So these are five
And-
elements make the physical world.
They are throughout the universe.
Yeah, okay. So these are the
These are
elements.
throughout the universe. Only thing is, in the physical world, anything physical has got the association with the senses.
Right. Those are the building blocks.
Of anything physical.
So those are
Okay.
the elements.
But what happens when you rise above the physical world?
Hmm.
Right.
So
Okay.
you have the Annamaya Kosha, you have the Pranamaya Kosha.
Those are the physical world.
Correct. Now in English, what is happening? You have the physical world, you have the ethereal world, then you have the astral world.
Yeah. Kantimaya, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya.
Correct. So beyond the mental, then beyond the astral world, you have the mental world.
Yeah.
And slowly you are heading towards ether.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay?
Anandamaya.
Right. Anandamaya is basically the experience of the ultimate bliss.
Hmm.
Now, in the physical world, the Pranamaya, Annamaya have a role.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
What happens to you in your astral world? Now, come from the other side. What happens after you have been an elemental of fire, an elemental of air? You have finished, you have reached the ultimate maturity of cleansing and all that. Correct? Then you are forming an organism which has got just a form. Right? Form is that element which is part of the psychic world. That is what he is trying to clarify here.
No, form is part of the physical world, is it not, sir? As we see the
Sir,
form.
form and breath together is when it is in the physical world.
Yes. So
Form
beyond that,
and breath together. Okay.
breath gives life to the form.
Correct.
That's
But
what
what happens when you leave your physical form?
both of them are absent.
They are not absent. They are not together.
Only the form remains and breath
Yeah.
separates out.
No, they
And
separate
breath goes
out
in his
and the form merges with the universe.
and then
But
the breath goes in the soul cleaning process.
Correct.
The 12 and 13 process we have, no, sir? 13 circle
Correct. 13
process we have.
processes.
Then the breath goes in the cleaning of the soul cleaning process and it will wait. And then again it will merge with the form as a conceiving process.
Correct. Correct. That is how the cycle starts. Yes. So let us proceed.
Yeah. One kind, form destiny, affects nature matter on the form plane and has to do chiefly with prenatal influences. The other, strictly psychic destiny, has to do with states in the psychic atmosphere of the doer and affects the doer after the birth of the body. This is what is here called psychic destiny. I'll read that once more. Psychic destiny is a name for two kinds of destiny. One kind, form destiny, affects nature matter on the form plane and has to do chiefly with prenatal influences. The other, strictly psychic destiny, has to do with states in the psychic atmosphere of the doer and affects the doer after the birth of the body. This is what is here called the psychic destiny.
So the form, so what you are saying is the form sitting independently and with together with birth, together with breath. With and without is what is the existence of the form, which is the psychic destiny, which is the psychic plane basically. How? Why? Form is that aspect which goes through the refining process over multitude of years. If you remember in the introduction, he explained that to us. Right? Form aspect is the soul element. And when the doer joins it, that is when he is becoming the soul inside the human body. That means form, as a doer, he is equal to form plus breath. Is that clear? Go back to the diagram that we had in the creation of the soul. वो हमारा सोल का बताया था ना चैप्टर 2 में, पर्पस ऑफ द यूनिवर्स में सोल, हाउ इज द सोल फॉर्म्ड? The highest in the nature side is the breath form, correct? and then he becomes AIA, and then he progresses into the intelligence. When he is progressing into intelligence, that is when the doer is joining him. And on the top side, the same thing as the aspect. The aspect is influencing the form that you are going to take in the mother's womb.
So by any chance, are you showing something on your screen because it's not getting
No,
shared
it
here?
is in my memory because the diagram is in
Okay,
my
okay.
memory now.
Okay.
Okay. So you remember that, right? In the diagram in the top side, we started with the explanation of what is the form and how does the conception happen.
Hmm.
The form enters the mother to be through breath. Correct?
Yes.
Right? The form enters and the breath that the mother takes results in the conception he is explaining to make it a life. You recall that portion, correct? In the diagram? Okay. I don't know whether I have access to the diagram for me to show it now.
We understood at that time that breath enters. Yeah,
the form is already in the mother's womb.
Yes, and then the breath supports it.
Correct. Right. The breath then converts it to life. It gives it the life. That is conception.
No, but that's when the soul enters.
No. That's what he explains, right? The soul enters, yes, but it is the soul surviving on the breath of the mother. It is not an independent soul in the body.
Okay, so the soul
soul becomes the soul inside the body or the doer inside the body when at the first tap post-birth, the child utters a cry and the first individual breath of the child is starting then, correct?
Yes, that is only after the
birth.
Uh,
So that becomes the doer inside the body. The up to that portion is controlled by the psychic destiny.
So that is prenatal.
As a form. Then the moment the child is born, it is postnatal.
Yes. Okay.
So that portion is controlled by that. That is the psychic destiny. Now, yesterday I was talking about the Akashic record and sudden death. In the case of the sudden death, what is happening? The Akashic record is incomplete.
Yes.
Correct. When it is incomplete, I was also talking about one lecture that I heard, which clearly indicates that in such cases, the body has to, the soul has to come back to complete those records. How does it do it? By a short-term birth, which happens immediately on leaving the body. It comes back, fills up the gap, and then dies again. That was an interesting paradigm. Right? Just to fill that gap of the Akashic record. Because the transfer from the etheric body into the Akashic record has not been completed. That is where he was explaining that within 3 days, it takes that much time for the record from the physical to etheric, etheric to astral. Right? So that explanation and this one can be read together for us to get the clarity. Are you all with me?
I think so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah, so we will continue from here. But I did not share, right? How can we continue? Yeah. So psychic destiny is a name for two kinds of destiny. One kind, form destiny, right? Affects nature matter on the form plane and has to do chiefly with prenatal influences. How your destiny in terms of how you should be born, whether you should have one hand, one eye, or no eye, all that is recorded in the form plane. The other, strictly psychic destiny, has to do with the states in the psychic atmosphere of the doer and affects the doer after the birth of the body. Both of them are the psychic destiny. So what affects him in the up to the birth, from the transition from form till the doer in the body. Because till the doer enters with the child's first breath, it is not the birth of the body, it is the birth, the growth of the fetus. Yeah. So now let us go.
So मतलब
Yes,
जब तक fetus growth होता रहता है तब तक till that point it is under the hold of the psychic atmosphere.
No, even after.
तो जब तक soul enter नहीं होता, मतलब soul तो तब भी enter हो
No,
गया
soul
होगा
तो
ना,
enter हो गया, sir, but the
Correct.
soul is building a body which is not the doer. The doer has not entered.
Okay,
Breath
अब doer
plus
enter
form,
करने का point
sir,
कौन सा है?
नहीं, breath plus form जो है ना,
हाँ.
दोनों जब एक साथ है, then it is the doer in the body.
Okay, हाँ ठीक है.
ठीक है? वो जो second breath, that means the first breath of the child on its own, not surviving on the basis of the umbilical cord. It is beyond the umbilical cord. At that breath, at that first breath is when the entry of the doer into the body comes into effect.
तो इसका मतलब ये हो गया कि till the baby or whatever the till the birth happens,
till the baby is born.
Yeah, till the birth happens, जब
Correct.
तक womb में है तब तक psychic atmosphere में है.
नहीं, तब तक वो फॉर्म फैक्टर बढ़ रहा है, वो फॉर्म
करेक्ट, वो ठीक है, बट साइकिक
है।
एटमॉस्फेयर के अंडर के इन्फ्लुएंस कब तक रहेगा?
थ्रू आउट,
It says no, affects the
but
doer
the
after the birth.
destiny is it affects the doer after the birth of the body.
The birth, अच्छा.
It exists at the conception, or it comes
From
into
the conception to the delivery stage. After that, it is the physical plane that will take over.
Yeah. But psychic will affect only after birth.
It will affect the body.
After
In that
birth.
stage, it is the psychic destiny, sir.
Yeah. Inside the womb.
Inside the womb and till the condition of the birth. After
Sir,
that, it is the
दोबारा-
belief system, etc., that will grow, correct?
सर दोबारा थोड़ा क्रोनोलॉजी में बताइए प्लीज. सॉरी,
एक मिनट, let me see if I can access that.
नहीं ठीक है, समझ आ रहा है, आप थोड़ा क्रोनोलॉजी में बताइए.
नहीं, एक सेक, I'm going there. ये जरूरी है समझना। तो एक मिनट किधर है? हाँ ठीक है, चलिए। थिंकिंग एंड डेस्टिनी चैप्टर 2, प्लान एंड पर्पस ऑफ द यूनिवर्स, ये क्या बता रहा है? वन सेक, ये नहीं, मैप्स चैप्टर 2। ये नहीं, मेरे को कॉन्सेप्ट मैप चाहिए।
Just let me say something, sir.
या गो अहेड।
The psychic destiny, when it starts or where it exists, he's not talking about it, but he is only talking about it when it affects the physical element. It
करेक्ट
affects
सर।
the physical element at the time of the birth. As you say, the first cry is the beginning of effect or realization of the effect of that
ओके सर,
psychic destiny.
see, in chapter 2 is, let me share the screen. Concentrate on this. We said in chapter 2 that the universe has got a purpose and a plan, correct? And we were told how it is carried out by taking the nature elements and then cycling it through the body. Correct? Yahan tak to you are all with me. Now let us try to define the soul. Every human body that comes into this world is fashioned in its mother in accordance to the form which enters her body through her breath and causes the conception of the body which is to be fashioned. This body is not formed yet. At birth, the physical life, breath of the breath form enters the infant's body. Okay? And in the heart, it unites with the form aspect, and then is the breath form. Thereupon, the breath form performs its function as the living soul of the body. यहाँ तक तो clear है?
So the breath form is there at the time of conception. That's what
No.
you say.
No,
No,
it
breath
is
form
saying
is
it
when
is,
it's birth.
sir, there are two breaths here that you are overlooking. One is the breath of the mother.
Yeah, that is the beginning of the conception.
Correct. Not only beginning, till the baby is born, right?
It is the breath of
It
the
is the breath of the mother which is feeding the form. The form is the growing, this one, the fetus, right?
yeah.
So the form aspect of the psychic domain is ruling the roost at that point in time, which is the prenatal.
Right. So psychic exists before the birth.
As a form, it is the property of the form plane.
Yeah. Okay.
Which will enter the mother's womb at the time of conception through her breath.
That is psychic destiny. Okay.
Correct. Right. Now, the second portion of the understanding, which is equally important, is, right? Let's go back. Material, nature material that is indispensable to human, the non-intelligent unit of nature matter. For it is not at a soul. The result of this nature matter undergoing a long course of progression, in other words, to understand, let us visualize this. Form aspect is the formative or the passive form of that progressed nature unit. Okay? Again, see what does he say? On the nature side, the highest stage is breath form, correct? On the nature side, the highest level of consciousness that
Is
can
breath form.
is breath form. And at the next round, when the body joins, it is at the AIA state. Then when the doer
Correct.
joins. वो diagram तो याद है ना?
जी.
Right. So now what is he saying? The breath form has come to a stage. It is a nature matter which has gone through the entire rigmarole of the fire industry. Then, the fire world, it has gone through all those, come to the solid state. It has gone through radiant solid, it has gone through all that and acquired a particular form, which has also got a breath along with it. Are you with me?
Ji.
Right? Those two together become the soul. Right?
Correct.
As explained chapter 2. The form aspect, the breath aspect is the life of the form and the builder of the body to be. Right? So this impression of the aspect, the passive aspect of the nature matter, right, which is the progressed unit, and the other part of the nature matter is the breath aspect. Both of these together define the body to be. So what is happening? A processing unit of nature matter becomes the breath form of the physical body. So now those are now tending towards the physical body. So on one side, we have breath and form, which is the active and passive component of the soul. ठीक है?
ठीक है sir. ठीक.
Yeah. So यहाँ से अभी we come back to our chapter. ये कहाँ से आ गया? ये अपने को इधर नहीं जाना, इधर जाना. Okay. Now, form destiny is a thought so far advanced towards exteriorization that elementals have already built out the form of it as a future physical act, object, or event. That means the form is now nearing its exteriorization. Priya ma'am, you want to continue?
Yes, sir. Form destiny is a thought so far advanced towards exteriorization that elements have already built out the form of it as a future physical act, object, or event. This form abides on the form plane of the physical world, ready for appearance on the physical plane when there's a juncture of time, condition, and place to give it entrance. Then it takes a set and is fixed in the radiant substrates of that physical plane as a physical destiny. This happens when the cycle of the thought, thus partly in form, intersects the cycle of at least one other thought of the same or of some other person. I'll read that last part. This form abides on the form plane of the physical world, ready for appearance on the physical plane when there is a juncture of time, condition, and place to give it entrance.
Correct.
Then-
It is like, right, the entire soul plan, everything has been put together. Right?
Hmm.
Okay. And it is ready. The business case is ready now, approved.
Hmm.
Now it has to go to the next stage.
Hmm.
Right? Which is the exteriorization. This happens when the cycle of the thought does partly
It's
in form.
partly in form.
It is only partly in form. It is not complete.
Hmm.
But it is heading towards the exteriorization. Intersects the cycle of at least one
One
other
other
thought of the
of the
same
same
or some other
some
person.
other person. This meaning the same person or some other person.
Correct. Okay. All physical destiny comes out
Comes out
of
of
the
the ether,
ether.
which is the solid state of matter on the form plane.
Hmm.
I'll continue.
Yeah.
It comes through the radiant, airy, and fluid states of the physical plane into the solid state of the physical plane. There, it appears in sensible, tangible actions and conditions produced by elementals of the causal, portal, form, and structure kinds under the control of structure elementals.
Correct.
The fluid plastic form matter is hardened from the ether into the stiff material world. Only a small part can be precipitated at one time because time, condition, and place, which are different on the physical plane, limit the amount of form destiny that can come through. All in a thought that has become form is destiny. Its arrival in the physical state may be postponed, but cannot be permanently avoided.
So यहाँ पे शेप तैयार हो रहा है.
That is according to the thought.
Correct.
Psychic destiny is all that relates to the human who is conscious as feeling and desire. Such psychic destiny comprises all the states and powers of the doer in its psychic atmosphere. It comprises all the states and powers of the doer in its psychic atmosphere. Psychic destiny is of 6 classes. The first class is the feeling of pleasure or pain when the physical body is affected by contact. The second is the feeling of joy or sorrow when the doer is affected without physical contact, as by receipt of a message or by the anticipation of a pleasure or of a calamity. The third class of psychic destiny, and the most important, is the character of the human, his disposition, endowments, sentiments, instincts, virtues, and vices. This makeup comes into being before birth and lasts through life and for some time after death. The fourth class is sleep, with its restoration of bodily energy, dreams, the adjustment of the doer during sleep, and states similar to sleeping and dreaming, where the doer relaxes its hold on the senses. The fifth class is death itself and the processes of death. The sixth class is shown in the psychic conditions through which the doer passes after death during the periods of his metempsychosis, heaven, transmigrations, and re-existence. Figure 5D.
Okay, let us go to 5D. This is the 13 stages. Okay.
Where it enters with.
After death, dream of the section. Death or dream. Okay. judgment, hell, separation from gross desire section. So each of those. So up to what stage is this psychic under the influence? The sixth class is shown in the psychic conditions through which the doer passes after death during the periods of its psychosis.
Metempsychosis.
Yeah, metempsychosis, heaven, transmigration, and re-existence. Three things are directly affected by the psychic destiny. The AIA, the breath form, and the doer. क्योंकि वो डूअर बनने के लिए मदर के मुंह से बाहर निकल के करना है ना ब्रेथ फॉर्म. Right. Okay. So we will complete this para up to here and then stop.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I will try to draw a map because this is slightly more involved. Not like chapter 5.
We'll just read the six classes once more from the previous paragraph, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Psychic destiny is of 6 classes. First class is the feeling of pleasure or pain when the physical body is affected by contact. Second is a feeling of joy or sorrow when the doer is not affected by physical contact, like receiving a message or anticipation of pleasure or calamity. Third class is, and the most important, is character of the human. His disposition, endowments, sentiments, instincts, virtues, vices. And this comes into being before birth and lasts through life and for some time after death also. Fourth class is sleep, with the restoration of the bodily energy, the dreams, the adjustment.
So the first 4 are basically contact oriented that shape the form. Correct. This keeps changing the form, right? Fourth one is whatever happens when he is not living under the control of the physical senses. Correct?
Yeah, he's in sleep state, dream state.
Correct. Right?
Yeah.
The fifth class is
the fifth class.
The
fifth class is death itself and the processes of death.
The processes of death are the 13 stages that it has to go through before coming back. Okay.
The
so
sixth
fifth and
class,
sixth are those.
The sixth class is shown in the psychic conditions through which the doer passes after death during the periods of his metempsychosis, heaven, transmigrations, and re-existence. We saw that in figure 5D.
So, first 4 jo hai, first 3 jo hai, they are the feeling part. And different scenarios of the feeling part. Ek hai directly contact. The second one is the perceived contact, the feeling because of perceived contact. The third one
character
is the outcome of these 2, because it becomes his belief system and all that. Correct? Are you with me? First is feeling by contact. Second is the perception or the past experiences. The third one is the personality of the individual, which is the character and all that, right? These are the 3: physical contact, perceived contact or perception, and the personality. Right?
Sir, here it says comes into being before birth. So it is like,
but see, this makeup,
it's a carryover from the last
continues to be at the time of birth. That means ये जो separation वगैरह हो रहा है ना, the 13 stages of death, all that experience that you have, where is it? It is in the form aspect of the form, breath form, correct?
Yeah,
वो
when you are in
impression
life,
किधर है मैडम?
breath form. When you are in life, it's a breath form, sir. But
No, no.
before death and after death,
It is form. The form plane. You are sitting in the form plane. Ma'am, this physical body is equal to breath plus form.
Hmm.
When alive.
Yes. The breath is removed. What is remaining?
That is death.
No,
form.
that state you are calling death. But what is remaining when breath and form together is this body?
Physical
I am
form.
removing breath. What am I remaining as?
Yeah,
Form.
form.
Form. That form is caused by this is the input to the Akashic record. Please understand. Your thoughts, your personalities, your experiences, by contact or otherwise, all this impression is created in your form. Is that clear?
Yeah, right. The form doesn't die with the
It won't.
death.
It remains in the ether.
The form
It
continues.
remains in the ether.
So both the combination is called doer, which is soul.
Yes. Now you are talking
Got
the
it.
language that he
I
has.
got it, sir. Yeah, now I got it. The whatever mind, Priya ma'am, whatever mind we bring when we when we take birth, right? That's what it's. That's energy form. He's
Exactly.
talking about.
And
energy
this
form.
is impacting your prenatal stage, correct? After life,
Right.
yeah, ma'am, did you get it? The entire cycle is what? Birth to death. What is the outcome of the birth to death? It is the
Existence of
experiences,
All fixed.
data pertaining to experiences, which can be broken down into the existing personality, his contact-based experiences, his perceived-based experiences, his personality. Correct? Right? Then these are the three states sitting in the form. Sitting in the form aspect of the doer. Okay, that means this is the passive component of the doer. Okay. Now let us read the fourth condition. What is the fourth condition? So what is he saying?
That is sleep.
First three, this makeup comes into being before birth. All this experience that has got separated at death is coming back at the next birth. Okay? And last through life and for some time after death. This is your emotional part. Please understand. This is the emotional energy. Okay. The fourth class is the regenerative when it is under the, and all this is by virtue of the four senses. The fourth one is the regenerative stage, wherein
the senses are cut off and
correct, and the body is
experience.
now under the influence of the regenerative components, right? The dreams, the adjustments, etc. During sleep and states similar to sleeping or dreaming, where the doer relaxes its hold on the senses. Please understand this phrase.
Yes, sir. It's clear now. Thank you.
Okay. See, please reread this. Of the doer during sleep. Correct? And states similar to sleeping and dreaming. What are the ones? Where is the similarity coming up? How do you define sleep and how do you define death? As far as from a soul perspective,
Means death is like
it's a prolonged sleep.
At the door.
It is an extended sleep period.
Yeah, extended sleep and disconnects from your form and breath is
And,
separated. It's the death. But
and
whereas
no,
sleep,
Yeah, Priya ma'am.
and no intention of getting back into the form.
No, see what is happening is he is still waiting,
Whereas in
waiting
sleep-
for the body.
No, whereas in sleep, you might be going out also, but you will be back in.
No, see, that is what. But basically, both of them, what the body experiences, the soul experiences, is one and the same. Right? The situation is it has to come back and wait for the body to allow him inside. Correct? Now, the fifth class is death itself. And the process of death. Okay. And the sixth class is the 13 stages which the breath form as the doer is passing through after death.
yes, sir, that circle.
Correct. That's
Until,
the 13 stages.
until coming back to the next birth.
Correct. So, three things are directly affected by psychic destiny. What are these three things?
The AIA, the breath form, and the doer.
And the doer. The first of these three things, the AIA, is the principle of form for a human, is primary for the human. It is matter in a neutral state, matter which is no longer nature matter, but is not yet intelligent matter.
Intelligent matter. That
Okay.
is the transition stage.
Correct.
From the side to,
he has finished his schooling. He is not yet ready for the intermediate. If I take education, schooling khatam ho gaya, he is now waiting for pre-university to open. That is AIA. And what he undergoes there in his preparation during the pre-university is the AIA. Because it is the preparatory stage before you enter the world of a professional course or something that is oriented towards your career building. Not at intelligent matter and does not belong to any one of the four worlds of this sphere. Okay? The AIA, like the mathematical point, is without dimension. It is not a form. It has neither parts nor size. It cannot be perceived by any of the four senses. The AIA came out of substance as a unit of fire, progressed through all the degrees of nature matter until it became an AIA and is destined to become a triune self. Preparation हो गया, bridegroom तैयार है, अभी शादी होने का है, right? Beings below the human stage have no AIAs. Please understand. At the time of conception, the AIA, which is itself without form and without dimension, revivifies the form of the breath form which is to be distinguished from the radiant or astral body of human. Okay, probably, you know what? Now I am able to understand why that chapter on Akashic record hit my preparation for this session. Are you able to relate the two? You have heard at least that small Shifali Rastogi's lesson on Akashic record.
Ji, sir, ji.
Now you are able to see why that came. The universe only pushed me into that, right?
Correct, sir.
I had no intention. I have got books on Akashic record lying with me for 3 years now. Right? Its relevance is something that I am getting to light now. Edward Casey, the sleeping prophet, is one of the guys who has started this concept of Akashic record, which is first recorded by Madame Blavatsky in her The Secret Doctrine. Okay, so let us continue. There are 2 more paras. Do you want to stop now or go to them?
Sir, we can stop now.
We will stop here. First stage is over. Second stage, we will see if we can quickly read this. The second, we are again can repeat this. The second of the 3 things affected by psychic destiny, the breath form, has an active side, which is the physical breath, and a passive side, the form, which receives impressions from the senses and from the doer when it thinks. The AIA stands back of the breath form through life and after life until the breath of the breath form is put out of phase with the form. The breath form is an automaton. It is a harlow and an angel for nature and for the doer. Okay. It goes with that which is the stronger. It responds to the call that makes the strongest impression. It obeys man's basic desires, yet it is his angel because after it has been purified, it takes him into heaven. It is most delicately sensitive. It has no inclination to right or wrong, good or bad, health or disease. It responds to impressions made upon it and then projects them and gives them form. Is that clear? Now, this para is the one that is giving us relevance of the Akashic record. So please listen to that Akashic record once. Not the entire book, but at least this introduction. I'm going to stop the recording. Are we all on the same page? Because at 10:45 I stop in any case.
Right, sir, right.
Yeah. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Can somebody summarize what we discussed today?